Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, Budgeting for Future. Today we will be doing our budget by paycheck. Today we will be budgeting for the pay period April 9th to April 22nd, and I'm using my new budget by paycheck template that I made. I'm pretty excited to use it for the first time today. I really like how I set it up, and I'll kind of talk about why I did it the way I did as we go through here. But to start us off, I'm going to start by putting our pay period of April 9th to April 22nd. I like knowing exactly the day range that it'll be for. That way I know to make sure that I'm only writing on this page between those two dates. I made our income section pretty big here because we do oftentimes have money, our actual paycheck that we get from our employers, but we also typically will have either extra income coming in or a flexible savings account. We'll be taking money from that as we have to pay for childcare. So that's kind of why I set it up the way I did. To get started, my husband does work full-time and he should be receiving $1,517.20. And then for myself, I did have to change my payroll deductions for this paycheck and for all paychecks going forward because we did have that really large tax bill earlier this year of about $3,000 or $4,000, and this will be the first paycheck, hopefully, if HR did it right, where they are withdrawing the correct amount of money from our paycheck. That way we don't have as big of a tax bill. I tried to make it so that we might owe just a little bit, or the government might just owe us a little bit within like $500 or so. So it's about $200 less than normal. I should be receiving $1,037.61. This will also be my last paycheck in my current role at work. I did just recently get promoted as of just a few days ago. So this is my last paycheck in my previous position with my previous pay, so that'll be exciting for all of our upcoming budgets. But for this one, we are still working with right around $1,000 every 2 weeks. And then for extra money, we aren't really expecting anything currently, but I do want to have it in there. That way, if something does come up, I can log it. And then we do have some money coming from our FSA account, which is our flexible savings account, where we put pre-tax money in that through my husband's paycheck all year round. And then as we have different childcare expenses, we are able to provide a receipt to them, and then they give us the money without being taxed back to us. It's kind of just a way for having some tax advantages to having to pay for childcare, and that will be $192.31. Next, I'm going to go into my fixed expenses, which is typically where I will start my budgeting. These are going to be the expenses that they're actual bills that we have to pay. Most of the time, we know exactly how much they'll be, and they don't fluctuate very much. The first is our mortgage. We do break this up over 2 paychecks, so this is really only half of what our mortgage is, but it will be $729.58. We also have an HOA fee, or a homeowners association fee, that is coming up. We do pay that monthly, and that is $98.90, which is pretty expensive for an HOA in my opinion, but we do have really nice walking trails, and they snowplow in the winter for us, which is really important because we are in the Midwest. So I don't love giving them about $1,200 a year, but I really like our neighborhood, so I definitely think it's worth it there. The next is our internet. I was recently able to get our internet bill down. We now have 200 Mbps, I think is how you measure internet speed, and we will be paying $50 every month for about a year, and then I'll call them again and see what kind of deal they can give me. And last but not least is our daughter's daycare. She is about 1 year old, and she does go 4 days a week, and that will be costing us right around $360 for the next 2 weeks. Now we can move on to our variable expenses. These are going to be our expenses where They do change kind of based on what's going on in our lives. Things like groceries. If we maybe have people over and are going to make a dinner, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Or if we go out more, it'll also be more expensive. And also vice versa. If we're not going out as much, we won't be spending as much, and so on and so forth. So definitely things that'll change depending on what's going on in our lives, but we do try and budget for them the best that we can, and then we really try and stick within our budget that we've given ourselves. We also do cash envelopes for our variable expenses. That way we're paying with cash and we can see exactly how much money that we have in each of those categories really easily by just opening them up, taking a peek at them, and then making decisions based on that. I do think it's a really great way to really hold yourself accountable if you do struggle with overspending in the variable expenses like our family does. The first that we have is going to be groceries. I keep going back and forth about whether or not I'm going to up this or lower it, but I think $250 is really the perfect amount for our family. I think as our daughter gets older, it'll definitely have to go up a little bit, but we definitely stay within a $200 to $250 range, depending on if we need toilet paper and paper towel and things of that nature. We also have our gas budget. We don't work in office most days, but I will be starting to work in office a little bit more. We also have to take our daughter to daycare 4 days a week, so that's really where we're spending most of our gas, and we're not traveling in the next 2 weeks, so we're gonna go ahead and put $40 towards gas. If we were going out of town, we would typically raise that up, because if we're traveling, it normally means that we're gonna go about 2 hours away or more, and that always results in us needing more money for gas. For our out to eat category, we did decide to finally officially up this to $175. Previously, we were spending about $150 every 2 weeks. We've noticed since restaurants have opened back up in our area that the prices at the restaurants have gone up quite a bit, which is understandable because they've been really heavily impacted by the pandemic, and we do really enjoy going out to eat. And since when I got my new job that I just started pretty much yesterday, I will be paid about $7,000 more per year. We thought we could inflate our out to eat just a little bit to try and match the market, and then hopefully put the rest towards savings or our different debts. We thought really hard about it and felt like it was a good move for our family. We also have different fun money envelopes for each of us. So my husband, myself, and our daughter also all get $100 every 2 weeks to spend on really miscellaneous expenses. My husband's often will go to video games and junk food, and I will normally buy clothes and lunch at work. And then our daughter, she always is needing new clothes and things of that nature. So $100 really works well for our family. It's also a place for a little bit of slush fund. Let's say we do go over and groceries or gas or out to eat, we'll typically try and take from our fun money categories. So they kind of work a little bit as miscellaneous funds as well as our own. And we are able to kind of make some more decisions for our family based on using those. I really like them. I think that they're larger than a lot of people that I see on YouTube have theirs set at. But I think we use them in a little bit more of a flexible manner, and they do roll over paycheck to paycheck. So I think right now my daughter has like $400 saved up. I've got about $200, and my husband has about $100, and those are kind of ways that we can save up for gifts for each other, Christmas, things of that nature. And that really wraps up our variable expenses. The next categories that I have are our debt and our savings. So these are the different debts that we're working on. Right now, we have a few debts in our name. They are our mortgage, which I put in our fixed expenses because we do have to pay that regardless of whether or not we want to or not. And I think in the future, if we decide to pay more on our mortgage, we'll probably add a separate category to this mortgage section saying, oh, we're going to try and put $50 more in or something of that nature. We also have student loans, but they're all federal, and currently right now they are in forbearance due to COVID, so we won't be having anything there. And then we also have our 401k loan, which is currently in my husband's name, but because it is a 401k loan, we actually pay for it through our paycheck that you do not really get to see because it shows up on our pay stub. That money never even comes into our account for us to try and have to make that decision. It just automatically goes there. But I am going to go ahead and just write down that we do have some student loans in our name, because in the future we will have to add these back in, as well as our 401k loan that we are working on. I also plan on making a printable where if you don't have debt, that you can use this printable without having the debt category, because if you don't have any, then you don't need to budget for it. So I will hopefully be posting that in the next few weeks, and maybe my next budget with me, I'll use that budget with me tracker as a way to show you what it looks like when you don't have debt that you have to account for. Now for our savings, we do have lots of different savings and sinking funds that we're working on right now, and I'm going to go ahead and write those in right now. Great, now those are all of our different savings and sinking funds that we have. We will be putting $40 towards our phone sinking fund because we do pay for that annually. We will also be putting $30 towards pets for their food and their litter. We do typically buy for them every 5 weeks, so if we do $30 a paycheck, we typically will have just enough to make that purchase. We are also doing a savings challenge where we're trying to save up $5,000 this year, and in order to accomplish that, we will be budgeting for $340 this paycheck, which is quite a bit of money, but luckily we did have room for it in the budget, so I thought we would do that. For our school, we currently have my fall semester saved up for. I am working on a Master's of Business Administration, and so we won't be putting any extra money towards that because now we are just focused on paying for spring of 2022, which is quite a ways away. So we're going to try and make our money work for us in other areas until that becomes more urgent. Next is our Roth IRA. We try to have a savings rate of 14% of our money going towards retirement, and to keep up with that for this paycheck, we'll be putting $15 into that Roth IRA. And then we'll be putting $30 into Christmas for saving up for gifts, $25 into maintenance for our cars and our house, $25 into vacation, and another $25 into furniture as well. And that'll wrap up our budget with me for April 9th to April 22nd. Overall, it being our last budget where we are budgeting at a lower pay, I'm feeling pretty good about it, and I'm definitely excited for the opportunity to have I'm definitely looking forward to the opportunity of having a little bit of more money to work with to try to advance some of our savings and retirement goals, as well as hopefully continuing to build our business. But if you did enjoy this, go ahead and give it a like. Also consider subscribing if you'd like to catch up on how well I did on this budget in about 2 weeks from now. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!